tried to get out, and the time was now.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another exciting episode of Sitting Down with Standups. I am your co-host, Justin Sakarica. As always, we have the Bean behind the scene, Daryl Bean, doing all of the technical wizardry that Elena and I have no idea how to work.
Yeah,
and speaking of Elena, she is back, my lovely co-host over to my left. Elena, how are you doing in that nice, comfy-ass looking hoodie?
Oh, it's so cozy. It was a gift to myself over the holiday. I'm a little nervous how long it will hold up because I got it from the TikTok shop. So I don't know.
The TikTok shop. What is the TikTok shop?
Oh.
I am kind of in the weeds on this.
They basically started monetizing through TikTok the ability to click if an influencer is talking about a product, you can then click on the video and it will immediately pull it up in the shop so you can purchase it in app. But they're kind of in the same vein as like, have you heard of Temu and
I've heard of
Sheen
Temu.
or Shine or Sheen? Sheen.
Yeah.
Where it's in a nation unknown. Not sure how it's being sourced or manufactured, but it's ridiculously cheap and super comfortable, and I'm sure when I wash it one time it will
fall apart.
It will entirely
you will
fall
wash
apart.
it and it will just disappear. You'll see.
Since I've been sitting here with it, this has happened in the pocket. So I feel like it's not long for wear. But no, things are good. Getting ready, leave tomorrow actually when this drops, leaving tomorrow to head up to Traverse City.
What is going on in Traverse City in the comedy world?
Well, Justin, I'm so glad you asked. We are getting ready for the 2nd annual Traverse City Comedy Festival. Woohoo! So it starts on Wednesday, but I'm heading up a day early. I'm working with past guest Ann Duke and future guest Mike Jeter. And the rest of the crew. We've got a big staff of people that are putting on all the shows, getting all the logistics set up. This year we've got, in addition to Michigan favorites, Norm Stoltz and Dwayne Kennedy headlining, we've got Rory Scovel, Joe List, Zainab, and there were just recently some additional headliners added who I apologize, but all the information is available at
TC Comedy Fest.
Thank you.
.com.
TCComedyFest.com. But yeah, it's going to be, for those who missed out last year, cannot recommend it enough. Like, have you ever been to a comedy festival?
I have not. I'm not really big on festivals, but I've heard nothing but great things about what happened last year in Traverse City.
Like, it's seriously, they talk about it being like, oh, it's a great hang, and I can't say that enough. Like, it was so much fun. Not only were all the shows honestly so hilarious, but so many people, and especially guests that we've had on. Like last week, guest Sam Rager is going to be up there. Ken Whitskull is going to be up there. Norm, we talked about. Bill Bouchard's going to be up there. Nate Armbruster. Like almost everybody we've had on the show is going to be up there, as well as so many others from around the country. And it's great shows every single day. But then also there's activities during the day, and there's a super fun karaoke.
I've heard stories. I've heard so many stories of the karaoke, and I've seen some videos, and that looks like it's an absolute blast.
I think we talked about it when Pat Sievert was here, but he did a memorable Bismarcky Just a Friend, and oh man, it was so good. And it's usually hosted by Josh Adams. And yeah, so cannot recommend it enough. tccomedy.com. Get tickets, all the information. But yeah, I am I hope I'm well rested enough because I got a long week ahead of me. But it should be good.
But it'll be worth it. Yeah, and if you were not paying attention to any of that, you need to go. You need to go to the festival. That's basically it in a nutshell. Again, I didn't go last year. I'm not going to be able to make it this year probably. But from everything I've heard, it is just an absolutely amazing time.
And the thing that I genuinely love, and this is outside of any promotion. This is focus group of one, voice of Elena. The opinions of Elena do not represent the opinions of everyone. I really love that they, for a lot of their shows, they have lottery spots. For any people who didn't get into the festival or didn't submit for the festival to still come and be a part of it. And if you did submit and you didn't get in, the money that you paid towards your submission fee, they will give to you in vouchers for tickets to come up. So it is still a beneficial thing to come if you have time, if you're if you don't have a day job or you're able to get time off or whatever, come up. You can be a part of some of the shows, and they do workshops, so the information sharing is really great too. Like last year, Daryl and I were on a panel, and it is still it is in my comedy scrapbook of amazing memories. So we're on this kind of overarching social media podcasting panel.
Yeah.
We get Jackie Cation to be a member on the panel. I'm emceeing. Daryl is there with his technical guru-ness, and we're talking about what it's like to podcast and what you should be doing on social media. And into the room walks Maria Bamford, who sits down with a notebook as I'm talking. And I was like, she's writing down what I'm saying. That's Maria Bamford. But you can't call it out.
Well, yeah, because you've got to remain professional and you know.
Right, and so I'm like, why, yes, Jackie Cation.
Yeah.
Whatever he's saying.
You can't do what we do here.
Heard his right.
Yeah.
And I hope that I did not bruise him, but I specifically remember reaching over and grabbing Daryl and being like, you do what's going on.
Mild bruising. It's fine. It's all right, really.
Yeah, but it's a good time.
That sounds. Are you ready for this?
Oh yes.
Are you ready for this? That sounds just incredible.
And we're back.
We are back.
We're back, baby.
For those of you who didn't catch that, I slid in the name of our guest.
You should really
right there.
get your hearing checked.
Get your hearing checked because we have an amazing guest on the show today. He is actually one of many Justins in the comedy scene. I didn't realize how many there were until you actually go and look it up. I mean, there's so many of them, but this is the man of the hour. Ladies and gentlemen, we have on the very funny Justin Divozzo. Get on in here, man. Woo! He survived the uncomfortable room back there.
I did not realize that this was going to be my first question. This is how unprepared I am as an interviewer. But will you please tell me the correct way to pronounce your last name?
Divozzo.
Okay,
Oh, shit.
Great.
Yeah.
I thought that, like,
happens
he
all the
said it
time.
with such confidence
Yeah.
that I was like, have I been saying it wrong for
No.
years?
Yeah. Well,
I've known him for a billion years, and I still can't pronounce his last
nobody
name.
can.
So.
Yeah, nobody can. Any guesses?
I heard you say it, and I'm still going to mess it up. It's Sikarica?
Yeah, you're close enough. But
Sikarica?
yeah, I mean, what is it with the Justins and the weird last names?
I don't know.
Divozzo, Sakarica, P-Dick, Pettick.
No,
Yeah,
Pettick.
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 Yeah.
I feel like he's got the easiest one of most of them, because I was always like, I looked at yours and I was like, Sikarica.
Yeah,
It's
something,
the,
you know.
it's the other one, because
Yeah.
I would always go Sakirka.
Yeah.
Sakirka was
Yeah.
like the easy way for my mouth
Yeah.
to go, and then I'm like, but there's another IER
Yeah.
in there that I don't
There's
know where
way
it goes.
too many letters in there, and it was funny because growing up, when I was in elementary school and we had a substitute teacher, you know, like, okay, Mike Harding, Greg Kirk, Justin, and they're waiting for you to, you know, help them out, and I'm like, go, you're a teacher, figure it out here, you know. No, what has been the funniest mispronunciation of your last name you've heard?
Everyone always puts the extra I in there, Divozio.
Divozzo.
Divozio. Everyone does Divozio, and I'm like, I don't know where it is. My brother gets real bougie about it. He was actually doing it capital D, lowercase I, capital V. And I was like, all right, you're churching it up a bit.
Yeah.
That's not how we do it. But,
Divozzo
are
sounds
you guys
like an
Italian?
yeah, Divozzo, yeah, it's just the way it's pronounced. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't know a lot of my family in Michigan for the Divozzo side. I don't know what the reason is. I'm sure my dad probably knows or someone knows. I've met some of them, but I have a lot of family I've never met before. I went to school with a girl most of high school. Didn't even know she was my cousin. So we were at
Oh.
nothing like that.
Yeah, I was
like,
like, shit,
nothing
wow.
like
Was
that.
she hot?
Yes.
Oh boy, here we go.
No, I didn't know we were at a family reunion, and they did like this, like a family tree board.
Yeah.
And I was like, Vanessa? I was like,
Yeah.
who the hell? And I walked like, who's that? They go, that's your cousin. I'm like, oh, I had no idea. That's cool. So yeah, I didn't know. I met one of my, I guess he would be my cousin. He's a border patrol guy for the American side, from the Canadian-American border.
Oh, wow.
So I met him, yeah, because every time I'd cross back into America, they'd be like, do you have a relative that works here? I was like, I don't think so. And they're like, well, someone's got the same last name. I said, oh, then we're related.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And then one night I was crossing, and he like looked at my stuff, and he's like, hey man. I'm like, hi. He's like, how are you? I'm like, I'm fine. You? And he's like, I'm good. You're my cousin. And I was like, oh shit. And he goes, yeah, I can't process you. We're not allowed to process family. So he had to leave, and another guy came in.
Really?
Yeah, you can't process family through. It's a customs thing.
Oh,
so
wow.
and he left,
Bullshit.
another guy. But I got to talk to him for like a couple minutes, and like, oh, it's really nice to meet you. Handsome motherfucker. Oh. Wow, I mean, just a handsome dude. I was like, I don't know where those genes are lingering, but
Yeah.
good looking dude, man. I'm like,
Is it the uniform or?
no, just a real. He looked good. He's a good looking dude, man. Yeah, good for him.
Do you want a moment to?
Yeah.
I'm just upset that
handle
we're
your
in that
own
family
processing?
tree. I'm just a little upset that somewhere my branches were not
Yeah.
there. Like,
Your branch
my
fell.
life would have been so much easier, you know? Like, I
Yeah.
don't know what he's doing at board. It can't be a great job, right? It's gotta be
Actually,
like
no, my buddy does the same exact thing. He probably knows your cousin. He's living it up pretty good.
Really?
Oh yeah, he loves it, man. But see, he gets to go out on the boat in the warmer months, and he actually like takes down drug traffickers and everything.
Yeah, it doesn't sound great to me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. That doesn't sound great. That sounds like some shit I don't like. Like, that's when I'm at work, and they're like, Justin, everything's ruined. We have to work the weekend. And I'm like, man, fuck. Like, that's like, if I was on the boat, I'd just be like hanging back. They'd be like, there's one, a cartel member. And I'd be like,
Well,
where? No,
Yeah.
he's fishing.
you gotta remember though,
No.
they're Canadian cartel members. Oh, so sorry, eh?
Yeah, I
Sorry
have.
about them drugs,
I
eh?
have. I'm not afraid to say that I have no respect for any Canadian gangsters.
Yeah, because
if there's
they
a
don't
dude in
exist.
Canada that thinks he's a gangster,
Listen
like, I
up.
got news for you, dude. You ain't shit by our standards. so.
Exactly. That's why
Yeah.
it's a very easy
Yeah.
job, you know.
I've met some Canadian gangsters. They weren't
Mm-hmm.
shit. I actually got arrested. I don't know if you guys know this. I have a weapon charge in Canada. So I have.
Why would we know this?
So I was.
Not sure
I
if you guys
actually-
have been keeping up on the news.
Yeah,
but
I frequently do the comedy places in Windsor. So Windsor Comedy Club. I did the festival and all that. So yeah, I was going to headline one night at the Windsor Comedy Club, and I forgot I had a magazine, an extra mag. I have a CPL in Michigan, so I forgot I had an extra magazine in my glove box. I usually have an extra one, so I did put my gun in the safe and got in the car and drove. And they're like, "Hey, can we search your vehicle?" I said, "Yeah, no problem, man." So I pull in. And I'm talking to this guy. He's got a little bulletproof suit. He's talking to me. We're joking about comedy and all this stuff. And dude comes out of my car and he starts yelling, "Where's the gun?" And I'm like, "Whoa, I don't have a gun."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Where's the effing gun?" I said, "I don't have a gun." And the dude who I thought was my friend just throws me on the ground.
Oh!
And yeah, another dude comes up, puts his foot on my shoulder. And he's like, "Tell us right now." And they start like trying to take my pants off. And I'm like, "Dude, I don't have a weapon." And I get up and I'm like, "What is going on?" The dude's like, "You gonna be serious? I need you to be serious with me right now." And I'm like, "I am being serious. I don't know what the hell you're talking about." And he goes, pulls out a magazine. He goes, "What's this?" I was like, "A magazine." He goes, "And what does that mean? What else would you have?" And I was like, "An empty gun? I don't understand." Like,
Yeah.
if it is present, like, it's surely not a
Yeah.
threat. It doesn't have anything in it. I said, "I don't have it. It's in my gun safe." And I said, "I forgot that I had an extra one." And here's a little education for people in firearm from Canada to America. It is 100% legal to carry a magazine under 10 rounds into Canada. So I used to carry a gun that carried 6 rounds. So I used to carry extra magazines into Canada, and I would tell, "Oh, hey, I forgot a magazine," and I would declare it, and they go, "Oh, it's no big deal." So I really didn't think it was a big deal to have it in my car. I was like, man, they seem pretty upset, but I think they're upset because they think that there's a correlating firearm to it. So I'm still like, yeah, all right, man, yeah, okay, whatever. And then so they handcuffed me. They're like, we're gonna bring a dog out, and I was like, yeah, of course. And so I'm handcuffed against the wall. They fucking walk this dog out, and I lose it. I just start laughing, dude. It looked like Air Bud. Like, it was like a golden retriever. It had a fucking bandana on that said police and shit. And I'm like, come. And he goes, what's so funny? I was like, dude, even your dogs aren't intimidating. Like, I don't even know what to tell you here. And he's like, you think you're funny? And the guy who thought was my buddy, he goes, he's a comedian like this. And he goes, another guy, I don't think it's very funny. And I'm like, dude, like, and so the dog's smelling me, right? And I'm like, hey, buddy. Right here. So I'm giving him little fingers on his nose. Don't touch the dog. And I'm like, all right, man. Like, and he's like, he's hitting on his right side. He's hitting on his right side. And they're like, and so they go, where do you keep your gun? I said, at home in America. And they're like, no, where do you keep your gun? I said, at home in America, sir. And he's like, where do you keep your gun? I was like, at home in a gun safe in America, sir. And he's like, no, on your person. Where do you keep the gun? I said, it's always holstered on my right side. That's where the dog's hitting. Search him again. I was like, dude, if you uncuff me, I will take these things off, and you guys can like have at her, pull the belt and just pull them down. And so I went inside, and I ended up getting super lucky. So shout out to the border customs people, because it is a really big fine and a big ticket, and they had my car up on the thing. They were gonna impound my car. So the guy came out and he goes, look, man, I understand that you didn't think you were doing anything wrong. Like, this is a felony. Like, it's a big deal. He goes, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. We're going to let you go. We're going to keep your magazine. And he goes, you're going to keep your magazine. You can have your bullets back. I go, I don't want them. And he's like, well, we're not keeping them. So we're going to give them to you. So they gave them to me in an evidence baggie. And he goes, everything's going to be okay. We're taking your car off. You're free to go. But for the next 7 years, you have a weapons seizure in Canada. He goes, so when you cross, you're going to get searched every time. And I said, well, that's no big deal. I only come over here about 3 times a year. Yeah. So that night, I ended up meeting who was my ex-fiance. So I ended up, as fate would have it, for like a year and a half, I crossed like 3 times a week, 4 times a week. So I was searched every time I went over there.
That almost sounds like you did that on purpose. Like, motherfucker, here he comes again.
I don't know if fate is a thing, but I think that even before that happened, someone was like, "Dude, don't go back. Like, just maybe this isn't a great idea." So, but yeah, I was searched all the time. I actually became not close, but I knew all the people there, so I'd pull in, and sometimes I sit there and talk to them for like 10 minutes, and. They really do like firearms, especially law enforcement over there. They just aren't allowed to carry them outside of work. So these older guys would be like, "What do you have? What about this one? Oh, how about this?" And a lot of the times I'm like, "Dude, I'm trying to fucking."
So let me ask this: are you still in that 7-year window?
Oh yeah. This was 2 years ago.
So. Have you ever taken a newer comedian over there, not told them a story? And been like, oh shit, we're getting searched, dude.
No, I haven't. And a fun fact about me is I don't carpool. So I don't carpool. I have a daughter, and I'm always super anxious that something's going to come up or something's going to happen. Mm-hmm. So I won't carpool with anybody for the reason that if I get a phone call and they're like, hey, she fell and hit her head, like I don't care if it's $1,000 a headline a show. I'm getting in my car and I'm leaving.
As you should.
And I wouldn't want anybody with me to be like, well, so I'm stuck in Owasso or something?
Yeah.
So I just want to be like, I do not carpool with people.
I'm so glad you clarified, because I was like, what's happening in that car?
Yeah. I still think it'd be hilarious, though, if any day you do decide to carpool just one time. Like, oh, fuck, man. Like, we're getting searched. Like, dude, there's a Tommy gun on the trunk.
Yeah, Pettick, who knows the story, he was there that night that it happened. Which they actually gave one of my bullets to the comedy club, so it's actually up there.
Oh, that's
yeah,
great.
I was horribly late for the show. I was like, yeah, dude. When I got there was like 5 minutes, and they were like stalling. They're like, he's gonna be here, because I was texting them the whole time. Who knows? And then like 10 minutes later, I was like, they said they're gonna release me. I'm good, but I gotta sign a bunch of paperwork. So I was in contact with them the whole time, and I basically showed up, walked in, and everybody was like clapping and stuff, like, yeah, here's your headliner. And I walked up, so I told the story, and everybody thought it was really funny. And ironically, you know, who became my ex, I think she was like, "Oh, this guy's a bad boy," and I think that's ultimately where the disappointment lied. I think like when she was introduced to me, she thought I was like some gun-toting gangster, and then she realized I was like sensitive and, and like worried about like what people thought and shit, and like so I think it was all really downhill from there. She just didn't want to admit it. She was like,
she wanted a real gangster because there are no gangsters in Canada.
There is no such thing as a Canadian gangster. And they might say they are, but there is no.
You're the closest thing.
Yeah, I have told people that. I said, you think you're a gangster? I don't know. Like I have smuggled things on accident. Yeah. You know, there's
the reluctant smuggler.
Yeah. So, but no, they check for everything. So it was a lot to every time you cross. You know, I would stop downtown and I would like open my trunk because I'm so anxious about it, and so like, do I have something in here? Like I don't fucking know. Like
you just get to the border and pull your pants down. And
it's just like, go ahead.
Let's
like,
do it, boys.
What do you guys want? And I got to know a lot of them, and it was a cool, it was a learning experience for sure.
It sounds like it.
I crossed a lot when I was younger. My grandmother lived in Buffalo, and so I would drive over as a teenager, and so like. Yes, I'm 100, so the rules were different then.
I'm 100.
But, you know, as they kind of changed and I was up with it, I didn't realize how different it would be when I became a Gonzalez. And it was like...
Get out of the car.
Yeah, it was a much different... it was a much different experience, and that's not even to speak ill, but it was like... it's a noticeable thing. Like, you're a Gonzalez?
Oh, they do that. You know, the Family Guy
sure
thing?
You
Where
are.
they got the shades.
Yeah.
Like, no, that has to be a real thing because, like, I know growing up in high school, we went to this 7-Eleven. So I lived in St. Clair Shores, you know, between 8 and 9 Mile. Great neighborhood. But we'd go to this 7-Eleven after school, and my buddy, who's, you know, by all means... way safer than me, right? Like, I was the worst one in the bunch. He would walk in, an African-American, and they'd, like, take your backpack off now! And I'm like, and we have ours on, and we're like, what the hell did he do to you? And you never realize it until then, and you're like, well, why do I have to take mine off? Like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, and crossing, even with my my history, you know, they gave me a lot of times, like, you're good to go, and I'm like, sure, man, I'm kind of a big deal.
Like,
do you not read that name again one more time?
Did you see my name on that list?
Yeah,
your dog has smelled my crotch. He's been up with me.
Justin, the gangster, Divozzo, where do you...
Of the international incident?
Yeah, you not remember? That guy's foot was on my head. Like,
Here, let me refresh you. He's hitting on the right. He's hitting on the right. You may remember
that
me
probably
for
made
such
Don't
things.
touch the dog.
I called him Air Bud, remember? It was a play on because you guys call everybody Bud, and he was a dog. Do you not remember? That was me. It was hilarious.
That's actually, I don't know if we met in Canada, but
well, they had the leak.
that's the show that I always
Yeah,
link
the leak.
to Justin. It was a previous club that no longer exists in Windsor, and it was in the basement, and I was so excited because it was like my first weekend, and we spent the first 40 minutes mopping.
Yeah,
they make you mop?
So they didn't make. They definitely didn't make us do anything. So yeah, I had got the opportunity to headline this comedy club in Windsor, and I was super excited. And Elena was there, and Jay Hunter was there, and Cody Calabra.
Right.
He did a guest spot on that. That's where I met Cody as well. So yeah, we walk in and the ceiling is leaking this awful sewage. I mean, it wasn't even like water. It was
like raw.
No, it was shit water. It was awful. So yeah, we all because we're like, hey, we got to work here tonight. And we're trying to have an audience. So we all just pitched in and started cleaning up. And I've always been really close with the guys in Windsor. I mean, ever since I started. So I was really trying to help them out. And Cody actually brought a bunch of air fresheners, if you remember. So he went to the store and he got like 10 Glades that you twist
Put
and
one
open.
on each table.
And he put them on all the tables, and like we had like incense in the back going, and
it sounds like a massage parlor, actually.
Man, it was a rough show.
Jay went right into like, oh, I've been on a submarine mode. Like he was just like, mop this, and I'm like, sir, yes, sir, whatever you say. Like it was.
Yeah, it was a different experience. They've come they've come a long way in the scene there. That was that place had a good opportunity. It was Haddon's back then, which was named after Josh Haddon, who passed away. I never got a chance to meet him, but his legend lives on. And
broken, busted pipes.
Well, they really had a great thing. I mean, it was a good spot despite the thing, and now the stuff that they're doing over there. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm so proud of those guys to watch them from when I first started going over there and doing these small shows at Villains. We did Villains. We do like these little tiny hole in the wall places. I did one of my other headlining was at a weed lounge where you could smoke weed in the place, and I'm not a big weed smoker. I do smoke weed, but I'm like, not like that. And I got fucking high. Like, I was sitting by this pool table, and I just remember, like, I was like, man, I hope I don't get high. And then I was like, that guy should split that ball. And I'm like, oh, shit.
Think I got high.
There was a kid there who opened. I don't know who he was. He was a local. He opened, and he got too high from contact. And was outside on a bench. Sorry, man, if you're watching this somehow. But he was on a bench on the phone with his mom. And he's like, I can't fucking do it. You gotta come get me. And he was like freaking out. And I just remember talking to him for a minute. And I was like, hey, just, breathe some fresh air and take it in. And, you go to a bar and people will buy you drinks once in a while. But it was like every person at this weed lounge was like, hit this bag, man. You want this, dude? And I'm like, no, I gotta perform and stuff. Which I'm sure made me look not cool, but... I was like, I don't want to be up there and be like, ha, ha, ha. And so the guy who owned it goes, he goes, so I don't know if you're familiar with these kind of shows. And I'm like, no. And he goes, it's different. Okay, so they're not gonna laugh like they would laugh when they're drunk. They're high, so don't take it personally. And I'm like, oh, I'm sensitive. I'm going to take it very personally. Like, and they'd like sit there and kind of chuckle, but. Yeah, to see where they came from, the whole Windsor scene, just how proud I am of my friends over there because, their festival, I got to host the festival, and it was just absolutely beautiful, and everything they've done, I'm very proud of them.
That was at a huge theater, too, wasn't it?
Yeah, oh yeah, it was one of the coolest moments for me, and I've been at the Emerald, and I've done the State Theater and all that, which was really awesome, but to really be close with everybody like I am there, you just felt this, like, pride of like, they did that. Like, I didn't do shit. Like, I came out and hosted a show, but like, to see your friends do so well and what they've accomplished.
I've heard other people say that like it's awesome to see them grow and become like an actual comedy
the
club.
Best. I mean, they've worked so freaking hard to get where they are, and they got. You talk about a great crowd. You go to Craft Heads on a weekday. And you do a freaking show there, whether it's an open mic or not, you're gonna see like 40 people in there that want to be there for comedy. They got great beer. I mean, you got good comics, and we know how it is here. We fight with each other from different areas, so it's like the Lansing people are here. Oh, the Ann Arbor people are here. In there, they're so together. Like, regardless of if they're from Chatham or if they're from LaSalle or if they're from Tecumseh or wherever, they all come together, and it's a really beautiful thing. We can learn something from that because.
But do we want to, though? Do we want to?
I've always said, like, people be like, oh, Justin hates Hamtramck. Like, I don't hate Hamtramck at all. I don't do many shows there, but it's not, I have nothing against them. I don't care where you're from. We obviously know there are people in this business that they just suck, and it doesn't matter where you're from, you just suck. I don't give a fuck if you can be my next door neighbor. If I don't like you, I don't like you.
Yeah.
So, but I'm very proud of them and everything that they've accomplished, and I look forward to seeing what they do in the future and the stuff that they're going to have.
So. Yeah. So obviously, I'm gonna assume that performing over in Canada is one of your favorite spots to.
So I know we're working something out right now for me to get a spot there. I think it's anywhere between May and July.
Nice.
So I'm excited for that. If I don't get into that rotation, then I'm sure I'll go maybe in the fall or something. But yeah, I try to hit them up at least once or twice a year. I head over there. It'll be cool. It'll definitely be cool to go back. I used to spend a lot of time there. That was the thing. So I could hit up their shows on my way home or whatever. So
Gotcha. Now, where are some of your favorite spots to perform back in the good old US of A?
Oh, yeah. That's a good question. It sucks that I've neglected the local area. I do a lot of shows for Knucklehead, so I do a lot of those shows. Like I'll host if I need to host, or I'll come in, and it really works out for me because I've been there since that pretty much all started with Adam and Mylan and all them. So, yeah, I'll get a phone call or a text, and it'll be like, please tell me you're not busy. I need somebody. So I'll and I live from like where it's the main place is, the Nail right on Grossbeck. I live like 5 minutes from there.
Oh, okay.
So they can call me. Yeah, I get a call, and they're like, can you please come in? Yeah, sure. And it works out. So I mostly, I would say my home base is probably there. Yeah, my girlfriend works there too, so it makes it kind of like you're gonna be there. I was there for what's her name? It was just what's her name? I hate saying
What's her name?
Yeah, T Barb just performed. She was there. I went and saw her. Yeah, so that's probably one of my more favorite spots. I really liked Cabbage Patch back in the day. I really liked that.
Oh
like,
yeah, Morris. What was all the drama that happened with
I don't
Cabbage
know.
Patch?
I don't know.
Because I'm not on MCN. I don't go on there, but like people are like, oh, did you hear about Cabbage Patch? I'm like, no. Like,
you're talking recent?
Yes.
You were talking back when like Jason did it, right?
Yeah, I've been there like once or twice with Jason, but I remember when Mike ran it, when Jeter ran it.
Gotcha.
So Jeter closed out my my comedy class that I did at Mark Ridley's. So Jeter closed it, and then he was like, "You should come. Hey, skippity dippity doo. You should come check out this show I do." And I was like,
"That's my new favorite Jeter impression."
Yeah, he likes doing those things. So I was like, yeah, I would love to. So I came out there, and it was when you first start, you're like, oh, this is legit. This is what I'm about to do. And then looking back, I almost appreciate it more. Because there was like 5 people there, and like 3 of them were other comics. So you just bomb in front of everybody and try to learn. And remember laugh tracks?
Yeah. Oh my God! I was gonna bring up when you were talking about the leaking sewage in Canada. Laugh Tracks was also a leaker.
I showed up at Laugh Tracks one time to do a show, and nobody was there to run it, and I didn't know anybody. So me and my friends were like sitting at the bar, and I'm asking the bartender, like, do we just go in? And she goes, well, we're waiting for whoever to show up and open it up and go in. I was like, well, it's supposed to be now. And she's like, yeah, just hang in there. So it was like 30 minutes late. We walked in, and then I was like super psyched because it looked legit.
Oh
right?
yeah, it was a great looking room.
You're like, I made it. I'm in it. And then there was like 7 people, and I was like, dear God, like what happened? And then this is a funny story. So, what the hell was his name? There was a comic there. Okay, I won't say. I would love to say your name. I just don't honestly remember it. I'm sorry, and that's not.
We'll try and guess him.
He was really good friends with Mike. He hung out with Mike a lot. Jeter. He had really light hair, like a blondish hair.
David Van Otis?
No, he ran it.
Okay,
so he would like run a lot of the stuff there, and then Bill kind of ran some stuff there too. Man, I forget the comic's name, and I'm sorry. It's nothing. I definitely don't mean to do this.
He's not
out of
watching
malice.
this. Nobody does. He's not watching. Trust me.
Well, if they do, I'm sorry. Well, anyway, he was doing his set. And me and my friends were sitting at a table, and he made a joke. I was like about a cat or something, and I started laughing because it was a funny joke. And he like he was like, who's out there or whatever. And so I like raised my hand and stuff. And he's like, why don't you shut the fuck up? And I was like,
Jesus.
I was like, whoa, man. And then someone was like, yeah, no table talk or something. And I was like, you guys fucking laughing here? And then it just spiraled into this where I was like, I don't give a fuck where I'm at. Like, you don't talk to me like that. And then so we started going back and forth, and they're like, you need to leave. And I was like, yeah, fuck. And the whole way out was giving the guy the finger on the stage. And so I don't remember his name. Hey, man, I'm sorry. You know,
how do you forget the guy's name?
Because it was like 9 years ago, and he really didn't do much comedy. Like, and it sucked because I was laughing at his joke. I was like, that's fucking funny. It was like about a cat or something. I was like, that's fucking funny. And then, it just spiraled into this thing where I think both of our egos got the best of it. But
that's so great.
Wish I remembered his freaking. He hung out with Mike a lot. Mike Jeter would remember who he was.
Well, at the comedy festival, I think you should ask Jeter. Who's the guy that has a cat joke that people are not allowed to laugh at?
Yeah. And it became this thing. Like, people were like, man, for me, they were like, man, fuck that guy. Like, and I was like, what? And so you double down on it because you're new. So you're like, no, F you.
Yeah.
And then so, I don't know. I didn't have the best start. I'm thankful. I'm really thankful for a lot of people in the industry that, stuck by me. Mark Bonto was a big one. So like, a lot of times I got uncomfortable with performing in places because I was like, is that going to happen again? Am I going to
Yeah.
Are these people not going to like me? And, so shout out to Mark. And I don't perform there as much, or haven't in a few years. But, yeah, you talk about a guy that's, like, super supportive. I mean, like, even if you're not doing that well, you'll think you did. Because he'll be like, hilarious. And you'll be like, no one laughed. And he's like, they did, though. You just couldn't hear it. And you're like,
They
no,
laughed in their hearts.
Yeah. Well, Bato, you gotta be like this.
Yeah.
Hilarious, man. Bato's great. He's
very
like
animated.
10 out of 10 on the animation scale.
Yeah,
He's
very
great guy,
supportive. I think a lot of stuff to him. Mike Ball, I worked with Mike Ball a lot when I first started, so I would go out to a lot of my shows are in Flint, Saginaw, Bay City, Midland, Freeland, stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm very thankful for those guys too. Shout out to them.
When I started, Laugh Tracks was already no longer a thing, but I kept hearing all of these stories about it, and I got curious, and I kind of pieced together enough to realize that I went to Laugh Tracks in the early 2000s, like, as a patron.
Yeah, the pool hall.
We were there at the pool hall, and then it was like, oh, are they telling jokes? Okay, let's go check it out. And I've been racking my brain to try to remember any single joke of any of the person. But of course, that was, damn near, well, it was at least 15 years ago. But, like, how crazy would that be if I was like, oh yeah, I remember Mike Jeter or Bill Bouchard or...
Well, I mean, and again, like we've all said before, when we've talked about Laugh Tracks, it looked amazing.
Oh, yeah.
But nobody gave a shit. Nobody, like it was like parking a brand new Ferrari outside in the winter.
Yeah.
Like, it looks great, but you don't take care of it, nobody gives a shit. I did a few shows there, and I think I've talked about it at length before, about how when my ex-girlfriend's roommate's cokehead drunk boyfriend thought he could... he thought...
family tree.
Oh, yeah, he was a mess. He thought he could do comedy, and then one night I went to David Van Otis and was like, dude, put this guy on, because I'm sick of hearing him, and he went on, and it was, it was my favorite
It ain't for
set.
everybody.
It was my favorite set
everybody.
I've ever seen. It was, I mean, it was like watching the last 20 minutes of Titanic over and over again.
God.
I feel safe asking this to you both. But what is it with white guys and that ego? Because there are so many people that my ex-husband was like this. They're like, oh, you do comedy? Oh, I've always wanted to do comedy. I would be amazing at comedy. I could do this. Bitch, you've never been on stage. You've never done it for 2 seconds. But the delusion and the ego
I think because it's not something that is typically... So the only experience you're going to have with comedy or relative to comedy would be like a play at school or like a talent show or if you were in a band or something. So that's not a very common thing where... so you watch football, right? And you go, I can fucking do that. Why?
Yeah. Because
you threw the football with your brother, because you played hockey in the street or something. So you have a slight understanding of what the game is. Now, we know you can't play football.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You can't rap, bitch. So you can't, like... shout out Melanie. So you can't...
I was going to say.
So I think with comedy, because there's nothing to prepare you for it, you take... that playing hockey in the street or throwing a football with somebody, that equivalent to that is I made someone laugh in the lunchroom at school, or my wife laughs at me, even though she doesn't think I'm funny. She's just trying to get me to shut up.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, to them, they're like, oh, I could totally do this. There's no experience, and then when they finally try it, they're like, oh God. Like, ooh.
See, and I think a part of it, too, is these are the people that have never been punched in the face.
Yeah.
They've never outwardly failed at anything. It's like, no, man, like, get out and experience life. It's not the way you think it is.
Get ready for this, because I know you'll love it. Speaking of being punched in the face...
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
When we've had conversations in the past about kind of coming up in the ranks in stand-up comedy, and one of the things that I really enjoyed is a comparison that you made to something that you used to do before you did. So what did you do before you did comedy?
I've done a lot of stuff.
That might go with my amazing segue.
Oh yeah, so I started boxing. That's what you're talking about. Yeah. So I boxed when I was younger. Motown Boxing at 8.5 and Shaner.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it was a when you put the two together, yeah, there is a lot of similarity. So when I walked in, you think you're just gonna be in there just brawling it out, and I was so surprised. 15, I think I was. How well that the community in that was as well. You don't go in there and get beat up. That doesn't happen. Now, if you're disrespectful and you're rude, that might happen. A coach might put a guy in there with you and be like, you're going to learn a lesson. But for the most part, you really look out for each other and you try to grow, and then you learn the intricacies of it. I mean, it's more like chess than it is like some brutal thing. I mean, you're everything. Looking for someone's, if they're fading, are they dropping their shoulder? I always like setting traps. So if you can do something that makes someone do something else, so you throw out a feint that's going to make someone slip down. You know they're going to slip. You can hit them with a counter. I loved that. I love the mind game of it. Now I definitely could never have been a pro. I never could have really pursued it in any other thing than a recreational hobby. But I moved in from doing boxing. I moved into like training in MMA.
That's what I did as well.
And it was
for
a very same experience. The thing I liked about the MMA guys is that they were a lot more funny. They were a lot more laid back. Like they were more like I played hockey a lot of my life, so they reminded me more of hockey players. Where they're like we kind of fucked around a lot more than we trained, but there was a lot of silly stuff and getting to know different gyms and working with different people and then the different styles. But yeah, you're humbled immediately. It's not something that takes a while to humble you. In comedy, you can suck for years, and you just linger. You just linger because you're not hurt. You suck at boxing. You're like, I shouldn't do this anymore.
Yes.
Because I'm getting injured. Like, you know what I mean? Like you learn quickly, naturally.
Well, there's immediate repercussions. Yeah, because I went to Cooper's gym. Did you ever have any Cooper's gym? Like I'm gonna say it. I don't know. They were.
Where was that out of? What city?
Detroit. It's like Warren. It's on Warren, I think Southfield.
Well, now we're going to lose our Cooper's Gym viewer base.
Yeah.
Cooper's Gym, I still support you.
I mean, like, they trained like animals, but there was a very cult-like mentality in there. Like, some of the shit that went on, I'm not a big fan of. But, like, I remember the first time being choked out. Yeah. And, like, boom, all of a sudden everyone's, like, staring over you.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck? And the coach is like, no, you're done for the day. I'm like, what happened? He's like, dude, you were out. No, I wasn't. Dude, you were fucking out. Go sit on the wall, relax, and then somebody comes over and they're like, yeah, like, you wouldn't listen to us. Yeah. You know, like,
Now, did you have to... So, did they encourage that you didn't tap? Or was
No,
they just went out from struggling?
I'm very stubborn. And they encourage you to tap, and the coach will watch you, and sometimes he'll say break. Yeah. Usually he'll say break if it's like a joint-based submission.
Yeah.
But if
right. Yeah.
But if you're a chokehold and you give a thumbs up, he's like, no, he's got you, and I'm way too stubborn. They go, fuck it, no, go ahead.
Yeah. So.
And then before I know it, I'm waking up.
They actually. Now I'm not gonna say that there was anything like where they were like, you're going to have to get choked out, but it was really frowned upon if you tapped to a choke. Now, a limb submission, tap out. Yeah. You're not going to break your arm or break your leg. That's ridiculous. Or your ankle. That's ridiculous. But the idea there is that when you get put in, let's say you get put in a guillotine, right? Yeah. So a lot of times, even if, let's say you're getting guillotined from like half, you're not going to get choked out. There is like a less than a 1% chance that is ever going to work because they just don't have the leverage on you to choke you out. Now, it's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to put a lot of strain on your jaw. It's going to hurt. But you're not going to pass out. But what happens is a lot of people and they tap because they're scared. So the coaches where I was, they wanted you to fight first, and then if you were sure you were going out, tap. Now, the problem is that once you're about to go out, there isn't a lot of... You might raise your hand to try to go, but then you just... Well, I compare it to like if you've ever been on the couch and you're falling asleep and your foot twitches. You know that feeling? Yeah. And you're like, that is the exact feeling, and then you wake up and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, and again, like, I was very stubborn. Like, I would refuse, and they'd like, nope, he's got you. And, it's just, because there's blood chokes and air chokes, too.
Yeah.
The blood chokes are the ones that you don't feel until,
Yeah. And they're also safer if you get choked out. An air choke, you're going to...
You're suffocating.
I've never felt more dumb in my life. I'm just listening to all of it. All I hear is Brad Wenzel's joke about MMA, and where he says that it would be so much more realistic if the referees were just women that were like, "Come on, guys!"
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Stop it!
Yeah.
Stop it, Jeff! Jeff, I don't know him, Jeff!
You guys
Yeah.
are friends.
Stop it!
Oh my god.
That should be that's a hilarious joke I've
Yeah.
never heard.
Well,
but
Brad's
that-
hilarious.
That is a great bit, and that it's very relatable.
But I just hear it's just like
Yeah.
Yeah.
blood choke, air choke.
But I think
Love
yeah, if there was repercussions to comedy other than embarrassment, which I think some people are impervious to somehow. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I bomb, I drive home, and I'm like, I may never, ever do this ever.
Do I need to move now?
I
Do I
have-
need to move to
And,
another
and this is,
state?
we're talking like, 8 years of doing stand-up. I've done really cool things, and I'll still bomb to this day and go, I might never go back.
but
I
the
might
thing-
never actually do this again.
And I think where the differentiation comes from is that you are able to know when you bomb.
Self-awareness is
And
key.
That is where I don't think that the people who go through it are necessarily impervious to the shame, but they don't see that they actually bombed.
So I don't understand how this happens because a lot of them record themselves, and I don't know if you guys I don't know if you guys know this about me, but in my tenure of comedy, I've been very vocal about one thing, and it's the truth. And I get very upset when people tell people they do well and they didn't. And it's not because it's not because I don't like the people. I want to clarify that. If you want to support your friend, I get it. Mm-hmm. You are not supporting them by lying to them.
Right.
And that happens so much with this like toxic positivity that happens in comedy.
You agree, that audience.
I have a
sucked or whatever,
comedian
yeah.
who was upset at me, and no names are being mentioned, but I was honest with them, and my prediction came true, and we'll just keep it at that. So
yeah, they need
it was.
they need constructive. This is what I tell people: if you walk off stage, I'm almost always going to give you a fist bump.
Yeah.
But if you didn't do well, that's all that there's going to be.
Yeah.
So if I see you get off stage, I go, that's it. Because what I'm fist bumping you is not that you did well. I'm fist bumping you that you did it.
Yeah.
You did something that a lot of people, and there is some pride to that. You did something that most people cannot do, that they don't have the courage to do, and I commend you for that. However, you did not do it well. So, and I don't think that there's anything wrong. So maybe I'm just more. Maybe I just have more of a way of talking. Maybe I'm better at talking with people than other people, but like a salesman, I guess. Mm-hmm. But I think there's a good way to say, hey, man, you did it, but
Oh yeah, no.
you need to work on some
There's
things.
definitely the
How
right
about
way.
we don't
to,
talk
yeah.
about some... How about we don't talk about some edgy stuff?
Yeah.
How about we
I mean-
keep the edgy shit out until you're a good comic, and then you can sprinkle some edge in there
Right.
Yeah.
as you go. But when you start off with, like, 9/11...
Yeah.
Everyone's like, one of my favorite comedians, and not for his comedic talent, but for just him as a person, is Nick Ford.
Oh yeah.
I love Nick, and I'm a huge fan of Nick and a supporter of Nick. And I've talked to him a million times. I truly believe that Nick has so much suppressed talent. If we have Dragon Ball Z fans out there, he's
Love
like
it.
he's like Gohan before they unleashed his powers before Dende
Before
and
Namek?
them.
Yeah.
Before Dende and then,
Guru.
yeah, they unleashed his hidden powers.
Remember 45 seconds ago when I said I've never felt dumber?
Yeah.
So I really do think that he's just going to find his voice one day, and he's going to be really great. But we've had conversations, him and I, where I've been like, that's just what you did is not it. Whatever you did up there, you wanted to be edgy, you wanted to be super tough, and like, that's not who you are. And I remember I introduced him on a show. I was hosting a show at the Nail, and he was like super nervous and stuff. And I said, hey, when I introduce you, I'm gonna give you 100 credits that you've never done, and just deal with it. And I want you to go up there and be confident. So I was like, hey, this next guy, we have a special guest for you because he's doing a 5-minute guest spot. And I said, listen, I got this next guest coming up. He's coming straight from L.A. He actually flew in to see his family. He agreed to do some time for us tonight. He's done the Comedy Store. He's done Hollywood Improv. He's been all over the place. He recently just toured overseas doing some stuff for the military. I said, this guy is hilarious. And you guys are all... And everyone just starts, hell yeah. And he comes up there and he's like, what the hell? So he gets this rolling start. And he killed. He killed. Because I'm telling you, confidence is key. When you go up there, you look at Mike Jeter's a good thing. Mike Jeter's the best promoter of himself that has ever existed in the earth. He will tell you how great he is 10 times before he asks your name. He'll be like, hey, you may not notice about me, but I've been on BET. I've done this for Comedy Central, and I've done this to skippity dippity doo dah. And then he'll get you going. You know, I mean, he sells his character, his voice, his body language. He sells the shit. You're like, this dude's gonna kill, and you didn't even hear him tell a joke yet. So I think that there's something to that, and I wanted Nick to see that once you do get more credits, once you do get some confidence under your belt, that it's a whole different ball game. And he was like, man, that was awesome. Thank you for doing that, man. And I'm like, all right, now you just, please, for the love of God, it's the only time I'm ever going to lie to an audience of people like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you please just do your best and stay confident? And he has moments where he just really gets out there and does it. I try to offer everybody, Stephanie Ann, I was real close with her, and she's got so much, she puts so much effort in. You can't take away the amount of effort and drive that she has to do it. And we've talked to her before about that, where we're just like, we almost feel that if you became more genuine, I don't agree with, and I've had this conversation with Stephanie before, and so whatever.
She doesn't watch.
It doesn't matter. Even if she did, I love her as a person, and I think that she does have a lot of talent in there. I think, however, trying to portray a character that she's not has hurt the ultimate thing. I think that being this super, like a tough, this diva personality thing, I think that hurts a person. I think that an audience can see you're genuine. Like, why don't we talk about having kids? Why don't we talk about the struggles of being a single mom? Why don't we talk about having these struggles that we have every day? And I think it's more relatable and it's better. And I hope that she finds that too. I hope that audience can tell when you're lying. They can tell when you're not being genuine, and you just have to be confident and sincere. And I think they'll pick it up. You know.
It really is. Kind of when you look at it from the outside versus really kind of breaking it down on the inside, that is where celebrity comedians have the
advantage.
The advantage, because you don't even have to know their credits to cut them that initial slack.
Yeah.
Now, ultimately, it's not going to carry them through a 45-minute set. If they start eating shit, they're going to eat shit.
Yeah.
But the audience gives you that initial, like,
they want to laugh. They want to laugh. They're like, dude, sometimes I get on stage and I can tell they don't want to laugh. They're like, fuck this guy. And he goes up there like, God, dude, I don't like this guy.
But it's assumed that this person is there to be funny. They are funny. They have been funny in the past and all of that. When you go onto the stage slightly nervous and not confident, then everybody gets nervous.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
They feel it.
And they're like, oh, this is not going to go well.
Yeah.
And there's people that harness that really well, like Noah Chap.
Yes.
He, you see him, you watch him walk on stage and you're like, good God. Like, no, I've met Noah, I never got the chance to speak to him.
Oh, he's...
So I'm a fan of his jokes, but you watch him walk on stage and you go, well, this is going to be something. And then the intelligence behind his jokes I like. The only thing I'll say, because I feel like I have to give good and I have to give bad, because that's who I am. I love his jokes. I think he's one of the better writers. I mean, he's really a talented writer, a genius at some level. So nothing against him personally. What I don't understand is that certain cliques of comedy will be upset with jokes that, like, Nick Ford will do a joke and everyone will be like, he should not be talking about that. That is not appropriate. But then Noah will go up and he gets this pass on it. And I've always been confused by the pass. Like, he talked about fucking a dead body. Like, that has certainly got to be worse than, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, yeah, it's...
And I appreciate his talent, and I support him, and I think that it's funny, and I think that there are things we should not talk about on stage, right? And I am 100% agreeing with... I agree. Well, the R thing, really, really shouldn't talk about it, I think, especially in a context of, like, you know, making light of it or anything.
Which R thing are we...
retarded.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was going something else. I was going to take the G out of grape.
yeah, that's why I was like, I don't know which.
I don't think you should ever punch down. I'm not a fan of punching down. I think, and you guys have to forgive me. I'm not trying to get you guys in trouble or anything, but I always think if I talk about something, I should mention names because it's just
nobody
I want to be
watches the
truth and
podcast.
genuine and stuff.
Nobody watches.
There are comics that who I have nothing against and I don't mind them, but that punch down a lot.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't think it's cool. I don't think it's cool. And I think if you're going to tell a joke about something, you can, any topic is to be talked about. Mm-hmm. We don't need to talk down about it. I mean, if there was Dan Grinnell was doing a show one time, and he just bombed his fucking ass off, and there was a group of girls they had a birthday party, and he just started going after them.
Was this at New Way?
I don't know.
Okay.
Because I've never been to New Way. I don't think it was that.
Because I heard a story about him in New Way and a group of girls on a birthday.
So it's
maybe it was whatever.
Well, so what happens when you're not? Dan, I'm sorry. When you don't, your strength isn't writing, and you don't spend that time writing. You go to crowd work, right? Because you see people do it. You see Josh do it. You see myself do it. You see people do crowd work, and you go, all I gotta do is talk about this guy and his weird haircut, or talk about him and his wife, and then they're getting standing ovations, and people are laughing, and it's like there is a skill to doing that. Josh doesn't punch down.
Never.
He might talk about how something's funny looking, but he hasn't punched down.
Never.
I've never seen Josh. I've never seen Josh cross a line where I went like, I don't like that, man.
I even saw
Never.
him literally last night apologize
Yes.
for going down a road. He was like, "Oh no,
Yep.
that's a little."
I've seen him
too-"
after a show come up, talk to somebody, because that's what I do. I will talk. If you guys have seen me perform, if I do 45 minutes, I'm doing about 30 of material, and I'm doing about 15 of assorted stuff. And I will always approach someone after show, and I'll say, thank you so much for coming out and supporting us. I really appreciate you. Hey, man, I hope no hard feeling. And I don't punch down. But I still, just talking about somebody as a man, I feel like I need to shake your hand, and I need to say, hey, thank you for helping me, because you made my set. You helped me more than, than any other person.
But pulling it all together, going back to the this person can say that, this person can't say that, or talk about this or whatever, I genuinely think that what you're saying, I agree with what you're saying, but in a more all-encompassing way, that it is a genuine effort and a genuine believability. So just to go to Nick, for instance, I don't know what the topic was that people were saying he shouldn't talk about, or whomever it was, but if Nick Ford goes on stage and does bestiality jokes, I don't buy it.
right, because it's not genuine.
But Noah Chap gets up there, and it's like, okay, this guy's weird enough.
But that lies a whole problem at all, is we're letting this guy in that could possibly be fucking dead animals. Which, I mean...
Frankly, if he is, it's not...
Hey, man, it's,
none of
you know,
your concern.
if you didn't... Here's what I'll say. If they didn't die at your hand...
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing with your recycling at that point.
But it really,
upcycling.
is. It's not. So I'm stealing this from Jesselnick. So this is not my original idea, but and I believe he was quoting someone else. So apologies. Go down your own Google rabbit hole and figure it out. But that the idea of good, specifically dark or harsh comedy, is getting away with it and making someone laugh. And so all of this, like, I'm going to be edgy for the sake of edgy. No, when audiences are walking away and they're like, that was fucking uncomfortable, that's not success.
Yeah, that is failure.
You did not get away with it. So Noah Chap talking about necrophilia or bestiality, I don't know if he is fucking dead people or fucking dead animals, but he's getting away with it.
Yes, and he's entertaining.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's found a way to make it funny.
Yeah.
If Nick gets up there and does 40 minutes on bestiality, he's not going to get away with it because I don't believe it.
Exactly.
So,
and you are 100% correct in that. And we are entertainers. Mm-hmm. However you get to that, but now I've been hard on people who do all. At the end of the day, it's your job.
Yep.
I don't care. Don't listen. Who am I?
Yep.
You know, who the fuck am I?
Yep.
If you want to do crowd work for 45 minutes straight, you know what, dude? If you sold tickets and you're making money, I'm here for you. Yep. You're an entertainer. Do I find you to be talented? No. Mm-hmm. But who cares what I think?
Right.
Find your own lane.
Those people
do your
who
own
bought
thing.
a ticket, got a sitter, came out. Yep.
Entertain them. Now, if you go out offending people and someone has to get up, like the birthday party girls, they got up and they left.
Right.
So they came out. They chose to go to that place for their birthday.
Yep.
Whether they knew it was comedy or not. Let's say they did know it was comedy. That makes it even worse.
Yep.
So they go, I want to go to a comedy show. Now, do you think those women will ever come back to a comedy show?
No.
Now, you know how many shows I do where there's fucking 60 people in the room, 70 people in the room, and no one in the front row?
Yep.
Why is that? That's because some bad comic went out and insulted people, and they go, I'm not sitting in the front.
Exactly.
I'm not going to sit in the front.
I
It's
run
like,
a number of
dude,
shows. Yeah.
you're killing it for me.
Yep.
So many people request, like when they make a reservation to be on my show, like, hey, can we
Not the
please
front.
not some, and like eventually I have to tell people that's all that's left.
Yeah,
I'll be like, look, I promise you, it's not what you think it is. You're not going to get picked on. Just trust me on this.
Yeah.
But so many people like, no, I don't want to sit up front. And I'm like,
I've asked. I've closed a show out and gone up there and been like, nobody wants to sit in the front. And they're like, we don't want to get teased. And I'm like, I can see you from here.
yeah.
I'm still gonna talk to you. I mean, but the way I see it is, it's an art. I don't want to punch down on you. I want to talk to you. I want to say, the cliched crowd work. How long have you guys been married? How long did you guys meet? And because I do a lot of marriage material, I can loop that in. So it's like, I can talk to them.
Right.
I make them feel important. Eye contact is super important when
Yep.
you do a comedy show. Make sure that if you're on the stage for newer comics, scan the thing. Talk over here. Talk over there. Talk over here. Make sure that at no point during the stage you're just in the front.
Yep.
People bought tickets. They want to sit over here. You don't have to make fun of people. You go, and most times, this is how crowd work works. This is the secret to crowd work. You're not actually funny. They just say some dumb shit, and everyone laughs. So you don't even have to punch down. A lot of times, like, how'd you guys meet? And they're like, tell them the truth, honey. Tell them the truth. We met in the backseat of a Buick. And now you have a tag. So now you tell a joke 5 minutes later, and you can go, like in the backseat of that Buick. And then everyone starts saying, I didn't do anything.
Yep.
Here's the secret, crowd work comics. We're not talented.
Yep.
We are people. This is what we do. We talk to people. We're not. There is no talent that comes with what I do. I make someone say something, and then I have a tag. And if I do it enough times in an hour set, I have 5 or 6 tags in my back pocket that while I'm doing my material, and maybe it's not working out so well, I add that tag that someone else gave me, and I kill.
And you
That's the secret.
You set your jokes up like that with okay, this one's gonna have a location, so I can use that.
Yep.
And when you're talking about the eye contact, you can easily find the person that is doing one of these.
Oh, yeah.
Like, don't go to that person.
Right.
They don't want to. They don't want
Leave
anything to
them
do with
alone,
it.
because
Like,
they're
leave-
gonna give you like, oh, what do you do? I'm an accountant.
Yeah, they don't want to be a part of
You're
it.
not.
Yeah.
It's not going to be good for you. It's not going to be good for them, and it will make you look worse.
For sure.
Than you actually are. So
My ex, when I met her at a show, she was sitting in her seat like this, had her fucking leg up, like she is something, like, and I'm like, who the fuck are you? And she's like, huh, me? I'm like, who the fuck are you? You see everyone else sitting? Who taught you how to sit? And then she's like, oh, and then everyone starts laughing, and she sits down, and then and then from there, you're razzing them a little bit, so you go, I'm just messing with you. What are you doing here? Oh, you're out with all your friends. Oh, that's cool. You guys are all single girls. Oh, no, you guys are all in a relationship. Oh, you're single. Oh, why are you single? And then it just keeps snowballing from there. And then she was like, she's like, oh, I had to leave him. He didn't like to shower. And it's like, what? Yeah, he smelled bad. So, and everyone's like, smelly guy who doesn't shower and doesn't do anything. So it's like, they write the jokes for you. And then those people, 9 out of 10 times, will come up to you after a show and go like, hey, it was really nice to talk to you, all this stuff. So it's like you gain people who want to see you again, or people who want to come out to another show you do. Or crowd work is a good thing for comedy, but it shouldn't be the only thing. You should write jokes. You should be a talented writer. I don't. That's what comedy is. Comedy is a wit game. It's like, wow, I never thought of that, or that I do. You know what? You know, my favorite thing is when I talk about something that's self-deprecating, and I see people like nodding their heads, and I go, I'm not as weird as I thought. I'm not the only person. Now, even if it's 4 people out of 100, they know what I'm talking about. I'm not weird. I'm not just struggling. I don't just suck at relationships. I don't just suck at this, or I'm not having a hard time parenting. Like, it's the relativity you form with other people around you, and that's comedy. You come out there and you want to feel like you're all together.
And that's the quality that sticks with an audience member as well, that makes you a memorable comedian. Like, I can't tell you, it just happened to me a few weeks ago. I was on vacation with my son, and and the escalator was broken. Sorry for the convenience. It will never leave my brain. And it's like, it's a relatable moment. It's a quick joke, but it's in there forever. And those are those are the ones that stick. Yes, there are things that need to be talked about, and if I want to talk about my abortion or whatever, but like that's not going to be relevant to everybody, and that's not going to carry the test of time.
I think men on this, I think we have to understand this a little bit better about comedy too, is there is a lot of scrutiny on female comedians, for sure, and I'd always like to address that as well. So you talk about an abortion, right? Okay, we may not find that to be relative at all. It doesn't mean that someone else doesn't. So when you critique somebody and you go, "Oh, they talked about it was women shit," okay, well, there's fucking 14 or 20 women in the audience that they might have found it to be relative. Yeah. With that being said, I support that, and I understand that I may not always understand a joke. That doesn't mean that other people don't, and you should just shut the hell up and let that joke happen.
Yeah.
Now,
Gohan,
women,
whatever the fuck that was.
If your entire set is your vagina, change it. Yeah. Stop. It's played out. It's not good. I don't want to hear it that whole time, and women don't want to hear it the whole time. Too much.
Men. If your entire joke, if your entire set
dick.
is your dick,
yeah, stop.
I don't want to hear it.
Fucking stop.
Stop it.
Listen, from 2 men and 3 men and a woman, stop it. Yeah. It's not fucking funny. It's not even kind of funny. And I don't care how they will mask it in self-deprecation. Well, I'm making fun of myself. We don't want to hear about it.
Right.
Make fun of something else.
We don't care the whole time.
Yeah.
Stop it. And at some point, self-deprecation is negative to you because they just go, "Oh, I just feel bad for this guy."
Well, yeah, because they believe it.
Yeah, because if you talk about it for 10 minutes, you're like, it's got to be fucking true. It's the only thing you can write about. It's got to be true.
Can't get laid. His dick is super small.
Dude, it's like, self-deprecation works in a lot of scenarios for comedy, but it shouldn't be your entire set. And especially when we're talking about forming a 45-minute set. So if you want to take it seriously, if you want to become a headliner, if you want to do these things, 45 minutes is a very long time. You're going to need more than that.
I struggle with this personally because I am a very I'm much more of I start from a storyteller place. So these are real things that happened to me, and that is, creepy dudes, and I had an abortion, and I'm a single mom, and so it is very woman-centric because I'm a fucking 40-year-old woman.
Oh, right,
44.
yeah.
But, where was I going with this? I got lost in correcting myself. You said be general.
No dicks, no vaginas.
No dicks, no vaginas. But the point is that it is not a 45-minute therapy session for me to just confess everything that I've done in my life. It is to start from a place of what is relatable to me, but then make it funny. So yeah, you may have never had a period or had an abortion, but my job is to find a joke in there that is still funny.
Oh, yeah.
Subjectively. So it's not, relatability is a key, and I think it is important, but it's still, it needs to transcend that. And I think that I still struggle with that daily, and I think a lot of newer comics do as well, because they will go, well, that's not my audience, and I'm not talking to my people. And it's like, but you have
not always
to,
gonna have your audience.
Then you have to find a way to be funny.
Yeah, you're not always going to have your audience. I'm not always going to be in the sticks. It's like so many bookers will be like, hey, I got a show in Gladwin. Do you want to come up? And it's like, all right, cool. Hey, I got this show up in fucking Casco. You want to come up? Yeah, all right, I got you. And I'll do well. And then they're like, I got a show downtown Detroit. And it's like, I'll be there. I remember, this is one of my favorite stories in comedy. So, T-Barb, I love her, man. That's my fucking girl, I'm also really upset that at all my family parties, when people tell me, people be like, oh, Justin does comedy, he's still doing comedy. Yeah, he's doing really good. And someone will come up and go, that one girl that goes, what up, now? Seriously, my stepmom went on for like 10 minutes about how funny I'm like, yeah, she's fucking hilarious. But my stepmom has never recited one of my jokes. But they're up there. Everybody's like, man, when she did that one thing, and she's up here. I'm like, oh, yeah.
That's how my dad is with Dan Curry. My dad has seen Dan Curry. He's like, man, that guy talking about the guy, being in the back seat of his car wanting McDonald's, and I'm like, what about me, Dad? He's like,
Oh, you were good too.
Yeah, you did good. Son.
He's like, you did
Fist bump. Fist bump.
My dad's like, you did a great job organizing everything.
Yeah.
Well, expect Dan to get you a fucking Father's Day card then.
Yeah. So I did this. I got asked to do this show in Warren, and it was at this. They call it like an expo center, right?
Yeah.
So it's a big event hall. Mm-hmm. So I show up and I'm like, oh fuck! I didn't know what to think, right? I was like, this is gonna be some janky ass fucking hall that they rented. Who knows what the hell is gonna be in here? People are gonna be twerking and shit. I don't know. So it's this big ass. I mean, it was big, fucking valet parking and shit. So I walk in, I go, God damn! It's me. It's T-Barb was running it. Tam White was performing. And then Josh Adams was there, and then someone else, and I was featuring. So I'm supposed to do like 25 minutes, right?
Were you
So
the diversity hire?
so that's why I walk in. I'm telling you, I was the only white guy, and I'm like, fuck it, I don't know if you know this, man. I lived at fucking Neff and East Warren. I was born and raised in Detroit. I lived in Detroit as an adult as well. I'm not shy about those areas at all. I show up, I'm like, all right, this is going to be something different. So what I was upset about was that one of the guys who was putting it together came up and he said, hey, we're going to bump you. We're going to have Tam do it. And I was like, well, okay. And Tam was kind of like, oh, he's funny. Like, he's good. And they were like, hey, man, like, no disrespect. I thought Jelly Roll was the guy. And he goes, hey, man, no disrespect to you. He goes, but, like. And I go, hey, man, it's your show. You're paying me the same? Yep, I'm going to pay you the same. I don't care as long as I'm getting paid. You want me to do 10 minutes instead of 25? That's what I'll do, and I'll give you the best 10 minutes that I can give you. And I was bummed. I was like, man, like, I feel like these people don't know me. And T-Barb was kind of like, wait a minute, no, like, this dude's a killer. Like, he can go out here with any audience. And I was like, hey, it's cool. Like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go out there with a chip on my shoulder, and I'm going to crush it in 10 minutes, and I'm going to show you guys it doesn't matter. And Josh was talking to me beforehand and trying to like give me like a fucking pep talk. He's like, man, you got to go in there, right? And then you're gonna hit him, and then leave him one more, man. You know what I mean? You're gonna leave on a high note and do this. And I said, yeah, I appreciate you, man. Fists. So they introduced me up there, and I walked out to shake a tail feather. I went up there and I was like, yeah, you didn't expect me, right? And then so I start riffing on the fact that I told them that I was a repo man, or that they all thought I was the repo man. I'm coming to get their cars, so they start laughing. I start joking about like how I'm not supposed to be there, like why I look different. Then I go into my normal material, and it just starts killing.
Yep.
I mean, I got people dying, dude. And I look down, I'm at like 9 minutes, and I fucking hit them with my closer. I roll over about 12 minutes on it. People are standing and clapping. I walk off. All these people are coming up to me. This older black woman comes up to me and she goes, I need to get my picture with you. And I said, oh, yeah, absolutely. She goes, because you going places, boy. You walked up there. You weren't scared. I go, no, I don't care where I perform. I'm going to perform. And she takes a selfie with me. And then she has her daughter take a picture with us. And she goes, I'm going to keep this because you going places. And I felt so great after that because, and there was no animosity towards Jelly or anything. I love Jelly Roll. I'm in contact with him all the time. I talk to him. Great guy. But I knew when I went there, I was like, no, I'm going to show you guys. I don't care where I'm at, if I'm in the sticks, if I'm downtown, I'm going to adjust my set properly. I'm going to make my jokes work somehow. I'm going to get you comfortable so you can laugh at my jokes. And just the amount of people that came up. And, yeah, I really feel like... And then getting the daps from Josh and getting the daps from T and getting the daps from Tam and, like, having everybody, like, yeah, that we told you, like, he could do it. I felt... Man, yeah, till this day, I still think it's one of the coolest moments because... I felt like, yeah, I did it. Like, I was supposed to be here. Because I felt like I wasn't. Like, I was like, oh, I got bumped. And I'm like, fuck, well, maybe I'm not that funny. Like, because, and here's the thing that bothers me. I pride myself on being self-aware, but I also think I might be dumb. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I understand. Wait a minute, I'm pretty stupid. So, like, am I funny? Maybe I'm not funny. Maybe I do suck. And then you start getting in your own head, and you're like, man, I wouldn't know, because everyone lies to everybody. Right. So how do I know when I'm off stage and someone's like, great job, Justin. But how I perceived it was like, you killed, dude. So, yeah, those are the moments that make you feel like you're like, oh, I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be a comic. And for everything we sacrifice, right, I'm sure everyone makes sacrifices. And mine are no greater or no less than anybody else's. But I sacrifice my job, I work like 70 hours a week right now. And my time with my daughter, my girlfriend, everything. I sacrifice all that to do comedy, and I don't think that people understand that enough. For everybody's sacrifice, your sacrifice, your sacrifice, your sacrifice. What we're doing right now, we could be doing something different, right? So I think that yeah, you guys, I'm proud of you guys, and I'm proud of you, and yeah, your sacrifice is definitely worth it. So always remember that.
The dabs right
sure.
there, yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
keep doing it. Keep pursuing it, man.
No, for real, man. But this has been a great conversation, man, for real. A lot of fun. I love the fact that you love MMA and Dragon Ball, because we could have a whole podcast about that. I was going to ask you...
I'm busy that day.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, we don't need to find Nick Ford's guru. We need to find his Android 16.
Oh,
because that's what he really unlocked his potential.
I think he found it. I think he found it with Emma, right? Are we assuming?
Oh, the red hair?
Yeah.
Is that where you're going?
Yeah, I think Emma definitely brings out. I think Emma's definitely good for him. First of all, she's hilarious, right? If you guys have ever seen her, absolutely,
yes,
astonishing.
Yeah.
Very great writer, very funny, and I think he's expressed his. We were talking, and he goes. I said, yeah, she's super funny. And he goes, well, and she's good looking, so she's getting a lot of opportunities. I said, Nick, she's hilarious. Like, this is... Yeah, and he goes, I know, but still. And I go, dude, she's got a double threat going. And it's easy for people like us to be like, yeah, I wish that women cared that we were funny because we were good looking or something. But unfortunately, we walk up there and they're like,
One of my favorite things about comedy overall is the sociological side of it. And watching an audience, like we talked about Noah, and watching the audience like be with him, and then drop, and then come back. And Emma was hosting for Bobcat at One Night Stands, and I was talking with Mike Green beforehand, and he kind of tugs on my elbow. He's like, "It's happened every fucking show." He's like, "Watch this. When she comes out on stage, watch the audience, and then about halfway through, watch the audience again." And it happened every single time. The women would cross their arms and sit back and be like, who's this pretty little bitch? And the men would sit forward and be like, oh, who's this hot? And by the time she was about halfway through, it switched. The guys were more intimidated and would sit back, and the women would be like, girl, every
super
fucking
talented.
time.
It's a hard it's a hard dynamic for that. I don't know if you guys have your experience with dating and doing comedy. I've never dated a comedian.
Same here.
Listen, I just don't think I would. I don't think I would do it. Obviously, the person I'm with, she's top notch, dude. I would never leave for anybody else. So, but I don't see it being a thing.
Unless you're watching this in the future.
It's got to be really hard. I think she'll watch it. She's super supportive. Huge shout out to Alyssa. She's super supportive.
No, I meant like
awesome.
Oh,
if I'm watching, hey man, hey, I've been wrong before. You 2 years from gonna work, didn't you? Dude, I've been there. Hey man, I just got out of it. I literally just went through it. It could happen again. I hope it doesn't. I'm gonna try that it doesn't, but hey, it could. But the dynamic of dating a comedian or dating and doing comedy is very hard. I joke about it in my set. It's a joke that I started doing because my ex was terrible about me doing comedy. She met me at a comedy show. So her opinion on comedy, her mindset on me doing comedy was that I talk to every woman. You know what I mean? Like, she's like, oh, so he's going to go out there, he's going to talk to some bitch in the front row, and he's going to say all this stuff, and then she's going to talk to him, and no matter how hard I tried, I told her, like, you are the only person stupid enough to come up to me after a show. Like believe me, I've riffed off a lot of people. You are the only one who was like, this is a good idea. So, but it was really hard because there was a lot of women I would work with, too. There was a show I did with me and Justin Pettick did a show somewhere on the water, kind of up north, and I was with Mary Spencer, who's hilarious. I don't know if you worked with her. Fucking one of the best. For sure, one of the best. And I remember just the poster. My girl was like, you ain't going to that show. And I'm like, Dude, I have to go. And she's like, you are not going to that show. Because you know what? I know what you're going to do. You're going to go there. You're going to be, oh, you do comedy. I do comedy. And I'm like, you don't know how this works. First of all, I would never, this is a job. I'm getting paid. I would never disrespect any of my people. That's not why I'm here. And I'm not like that to begin with. But your partner may not know that. You get a boyfriend, then he's like, you ain't doing that show with Justin. Yeah. motherfucker's too handsome. You ain't doing that. And it's
Bullshit.
it's such a sad predicament to be in, but a lot of people will find it. And this is something that really made me upset after my breakup was the amount of people that reached out to me that said how miserable I looked and how the amount of people that came up to me and were like, we could tell you were uncomfortable or we could tell that you weren't being yourself. I would get 20 phone calls during a show. I mean, I would get 20 phone calls, FaceTime, have to be on it, have to show me where you are right now. And it's like, dude, I don't know if you fucking looked at me today. Like, I've been growing this shitty beard for about 3 weeks now, so, but, you know, I don't know if you realize who I am. I'm not a threat to anybody, but to live with that is really hard. So when you do meet someone like Nick and Emma, they work for each other, man, because they can support each other, they can grow with each other, they understand what they're doing. If you get a partner, my partner now supports me 1,000%. I mean, she's the first person that'll be there clapping for me, the first person telling me to go do it and what I can work on and what I can change, and even when I don't do so well, telling me that, you know, hey, you're gonna do better, or this can work on it. I'm telling you right now that it's a cliched thing, but having a partner that supports you is probably the biggest cheat code to all of life, not even comedy. I mean, your actual job, your children, everything you do in life, if you have a partner that supports you and isn't jealous, you need to support them. And that means if you're going above and beyond as a comedian and they have to deal with you going out to shows, they have to deal with you being around other women, you need to show them support in another way. If they don't leave, then you need to be doing the laundry for them. Then you need to be fucking changing the oil in their car, or you need to be doing something to show them how much they mean to you. Because, yeah, if in this whole podcast I can stress anything enough, is that you need to be thankful and you need to be understanding of how supportive and how loving your partner is, because it is not common. It is, in fact, more times than not, people are with extremely unsupportive partners that they're an anchor and they weigh them down. And
I have been there before.
They hurt you, and it's hard to let them go. And if someone for the assumingly no one that he says watch, if you are watching and you can take my advice on something, is please drop that dead weight, because it'll be the hardest thing you do, but a couple days, a couple weeks, a couple months, you're going to feel really great about it, and you're never going to look back, man. It's never worth it. I do, not a joke, but I say something all the time. It may seem hard to find the right one, but it's damn near impossible to get away from the wrong one. So, you know, choose wisely, and if you got a good one, man, go out there, take them out to dinner, rub their fucking feet, like, just vacuum for them, dude, you know, take them ice skating, like, do something nice for them and appreciate them, because they're not very common.
So if you're paying attention, Emma, you need to change Nick's oil.
Yeah.
Nick,
Emma, you might have to roll your sleeves up.
Nick, you're gonna have to do Emma's laundry.
Yeah.
All right.
Where
Where can people find you on the interwebs?
So on Instagram, at J Divozzo. On Facebook, it's Justin Divozzo. On Threads, also at J Divozzo. Twitter, at J Divozzo. I try to stay pretty... If you go to my Facebook, you're going to get a whole collage of shit. A lot of my kid, a lot of my girlfriend, a lot of my life. If you want more of the comedy-related stuff, go to my Instagram. That's where I post a lot of stuff for that. Facebook is like a lot of everything. And then big show coming up on Valentine's Day. So when this gets put out, you guys will be closer to the Valentine's Day date. I'll be at Club 54 in Sterling Heights, and it'll be a Valentine's Day show. It'll be I do them every day, man. I will always do that. That's just who I am. But yeah, it's $40 a ticket, and it's $60 a ticket, and it gets you dinner and a ticket.
Nice.
So that's going to be Outlaw Barbecue is catering the whole event. So it's I think it's like a 350 people capacity. So get your tickets, and then if you guys can give me.
And where is that at again? Club.
That's at Club 54 in Sterling Heights, and I'm actually going to open up the thing for you right now because I'm just awful at remembering stuff. But we're going to do this right now. Sorry. I want to make sure... Oh, it's a QR that I can't get to. Yeah, so that's Club 54 on Valentine's Day. Hit them up. If you go to my socials, I'll be posting about it for a while, trying to promote the hell out of it. So I'll be there. I'll be doing like an hour. So you get to see my full set. A lot of crowd work, a lot of good jokes.
Don't miss it.
Yeah, I'll be doing Supernatural Brewing on the 27th of January. If this comes out before that or after that, you missed it. I was there. Yeah, I appreciate everybody's support. Thank you for watching these guys. They're awesome.
We try.
Thank you for the bourbon. What was it?
McKinnon.
Oh, it's very good, actually. Not a huge bourbon guy. I try to be. I want to be more sophisticated than I really am. I know by the hipstery outfit.
We'll get you there.
I got a shitty beard and like flannel on, so I should really like bourbon more. But I don't know if I ever told you guys. Mike Jeter got mad about this. I posted a joke one time. He said, "Beards are to men what high-waisted jeans are to women," and he was like, "Ah, skippity dippity doo, you just can't grow a beard." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's the joke."
Yeah.
Like, did you fucking miss it or something? I don't know. Like I get it, but am I wrong? Overweight guy with a beard? Like, am I? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you got it, but all right. But no, I agree. I'm trying, but it's just not.
I like
good.
it. It fits you.
Nah,
That's good, man.
Shitty beard for a shitty guy. I like it.
I am at
Most beards are
Gonzaleza
shitty.
on all of them. GONZALEEZA. And of course, this week, Traverse City. So come and say hi.
Follow me on Random Banana Entertainment on Instagram. I've got 5 venues right now. More to come. Rusted Crow in Dearborn Heights, Rusted Crow in Belleville, Dearborn Brewing in Dearborn, Downey Brewing Company in Dearborn, Michigan, and then Bearded Lamb Brewing Company in Plymouth. More to come. Check it out. Thanks again for watching. You guys take care.
Time was now.